Namaste, welcome everyone. Lovely to see you all. So as we wait for our start, let's make sure we have what we need for our practice. We'll continue to work on the 5 elements theory and focusing on the element of wood, which is associated with spring and new beginnings. So the energy that we're cultivating is this kind of looking forward, visionary, imaginative, creative energy. So if you have your bolsters or bolster equivalents ready, have those available, your blankets, blocks or large books or low footstool, cushions, pillows, anything that you can use creatively to support you in your practice so that you can be more restful. So as you prepare to come onto your mat, we will start off by seated, and then we'll do some body tapping, body shaking before we come back to the earth. So finding your way into your comfortable seat, grounding down through your sit bones, lengthening through your spine, lifting your shoulders up towards your ears and slide them down and away. Bring your palms face up or face down. And let's connect index finger and thumb in Gyan. Begin to turn inward, closing your eyes, softening your gaze. Settling into your physical self here. And the quality of wood that I invite you to cultivate today is flexibility, forgiveness, ability to adapt and change, the ability to move with your dreams, to flow with creativity, just as the branches of a tree sway in the wind. Being responsive and connected with nature. Observe your breath. Notice how your breath has this quality of adapting and changing, of flowing, of responding to your needs, your environment. Harmonizing with your intentions. The breath responds to these moments of stillness, of introspection, by slowing down, by deepening, by lengthening. Follow the journey of the breath through the nostrils, all the way down to the very root. Follow the journey back from the root, rising and leaving through your nostrils. Deep, long breath. Visualize the journey that this breath is taking. Visualize the length of this breath as it grows. Drawing the breath in, down to the root. Following the breath out from the root along the length of your spine. Sitting in stillness here. 10,000 flowers in spring, the moon in autumn, a cool breeze in summer, snow in winter. If the mind is not clouded by unnecessary things, this is the best season of our life. If the mind is not clouded by unnecessary things, this is the best season of our life. Drawing the breath down to the root, returning the breath from the root along the length of your spine. Bringing your hands together in Namaskar at the heart center. Opening our practice together by chanting Om softly 3 times. Inhaling to prepare. Om. Inhaling. Om. Inhaling. Om. Hands to the eyebrows and to welcome, namaste. Working with this softening energy that with the changes, the season of spring. So irrespective of the season outside, thinking about what you need for your body, what you need for your mind, what life circumstances are surrounding you, and cultivating a practice that responds to your circumstances, inviting in the energy of the season which most suits you, most benefits you. We're going to rise onto our feet and start with tapping. So the organs and meridians that we're working with today, the liver and the gallbladder. So these are organs that are responsible for detoxing, releasing, and then organizing and coordinating the self. So let's start by starting at our lower back here. So we'll start at the back of our body here, just at where the kidneys are. We're going to work on the gallbladder. So let's travel down to the buttocks here, just tapping on the buttocks first. And then down the sides, coming into your ear groin. Then travel down the outside of your legs here. All the way to the 4th toe. Now for the liver, let's travel across to the big toe, along the inner arches of the feet, to the ankle and traveling up the inside of your leg here. To the knee, thighs, coming back to the groin. And then traveling along the middle. Now let's travel down the side of the abdomen. Let's zigzag in, following the line of the rib cage. Back towards the center. Travel to the back, focusing again on the gallbladder. So the gallbladder helps to activate courage, vision. to the hips, the groin, and then traveling down the sides of your legs. Working with the gallbladder meridian helps us to have flexibility and hope. Moving to the fourth toe. Let's move to the yin at the big toe. And working with the yin meridian helps to release anger or frustration, traveling to the inside of the leg. So this is where we often work with these two in conjunction. We may feel frustrated at circumstances. We may become stubborn and obstinate, refuse to adapt and change, and that can cause frustration that things are not moving in the direction we wish for them to. So working in conjunction with the gallbladder helps us to become more flexible, traveling along the inside of the leg up to the groin, to the middle, and then out to the sides. If we let go, so that's working with, so we're working with the lower body, so you can see that we're working with the lower body here. So let's shake the legs out, allowing your feet to flop, one leg each. And if you want to just give a little wriggle from side to side, feel free to do that. And then we're going to come directly against a wall. We're going to, or the back of your mat. If you have a wall close by, that's great. We're going to dangle forward here. So standing with your feet hip distance wide. As you exhale, bending deeply into your knees, folding down forward towards the earth. Allow your head, your neck, your shoulders, your arms to feel heavy and relaxed. Dangling here, you can have the option of taking hold of your opposite elbows. If you're against a wall, take your sit bones up against the wall, so that you literally are sort of resting on the wall. So there's a connection between your sit bones and the wall if you're using a wall for dangling. And how far your heels are from the wall will either intensify or reduce the intensity. So the closer your heels to the wall, the more intense the forward fold is. The further your heels from the wall, the less intense it feels. And here, as you're in dangling forward fold, think about the flow of chi, of energy, of prana, as it travels up your legs, the length of your spine, releasing through your crown towards the earth. So this cycle of energy, drawing the energy up through your feet, traveling up the length of your legs, the length of your spine, releasing through your crown back into the earth. So creating this cycle. So the element of wood is deeply connected to the earth element. The element of wood is connected to recycling, rebirth, renewal. Knowing that when the leaves from the trees shed into the earth, they nourish the roots. The cycle of life is represented here, the cycle of nature. Let's have 3 more breaths here in dangling. If you're holding your elbows, releasing your elbows. And bending into your knees, let's come down to the earth through a squat, through a toe squat. So come onto the balls of your feet, then lower your sit bones towards your heels here. Keep your hands rested on the earth for support. You also have the option of placing a block or a cushion underneath the heels so that your heels are resting on something. So depending on how this there is, little too sick for me. Supported here. If you feel quite comfortable here, you go to your heart. You won't be here for long. It's just an awakening of the meridians. So thinking about the energy channels that move to the toes, the big toe for the liver, and the 4th toe for the gallbladder. One more breath. Having your bolster here and then coming down to rest your heart on the bolster. You can bring one ear to rest on the bolster. You can rest with your eyebrow center on the bolster or cushion. So that's option with a bolster or your bolster equivalent, or you can rest on the earth. So here we are retreating into the dormancy, thinking of yourself as a seed from which new growth sprouts. There are times in our life when we need to withdraw, become introspective, have more winter-like element to our practice. And then once we restore, we grow from there. We'll be here for another minute in child's pose. If you feel uncomfortable, you can always roll up a blanket and place it underneath your feet. Or have a blanket underneath your knees. So yin has healing, restorative properties. This is a practice in which we come into a pose and seek to find comfort. And even within that comfort, we will meet the edge. And always staying within that edge. As you rest here in child's pose, with each out breath, soften, surrender to the earth. This quality of giving. This quality of returning to the earth. When the element of wood is out of balance, we can feel rigid, inflexible, powerless, repressed, angry. This emotional dissatisfaction. By softening and surrendering, we begin to release some of these emotions. Instead of being rigid with anger or inflexible with impatience, we soften to cultivate the opposite. One more breath here in Child's Pose. Lifting your gaze. We're going to move directly into Sphinx Pose here. So if you do have a blanket, placing the blanket on the earth so that you can pad your hips so it feels more comfortable. For Sphinx, abdomen on the earth, your feet can be as wide as your mat. That gives you more space in your lower back. The closer your feet, the more intense it will feel in your lower back. You can rest your arms on the earth and bring your palms together in Namaskar. That's option 1 for you to explore. If this feels too intense for your lower back, you can close out and resting your eyebrow center on your hands, or simply having your elbows a little bit wider and holding your head up. So as you take your elbows wider, you can lower your chest closer to the floor. That releases the tension in your lower back. So you can be where you wish in terms of intensity for this back bend that stimulates the liver, but also the gallbladder meridian that's running along the groin area, the buttocks. If you have a bolster and you wish to use a bolster, you can place your bolster underneath your chest. And so that you come into a supported variation of Sphinx. So having that bolster underneath your armpits or pillow underneath your armpits. So it's at your upper chest. If your neck begins to feel tired, you could always use a block. Rest your eyebrow center on the block or a large book. So you can observe that there's a range of places that you can be with Sphinx. You can be directly on the earth without props, or you can use your props to support you. Feel the connection between your big toe and the earth. Big toe connects to the liver meridian. The liver is said to be the general of the army. It is the organizer, the coordinator. It channels the energy. It is the meridian of action. It's what helps you to plan and move forward. So the gallbladder helps to gift vision, imagination, and creativity. The liver helps to put it into action. So when we have problems that we want to overcome, when we have these emotional issues that surface and we want to be able to work through them, the liver is the organ of meridian which helps to process those difficult emotions, helps to find a way forward. Forgiveness and flexibility is the key to be able to let go of those emotions and move forward. Three more breaths in Sphinx or the crocodile variation. Signal to your body you're about to move. If you have props, moving them out of the way, moving with care here. Press into your hands and let's just come back momentarily into child's pose to release the lower back. Bring your arms alongside your body, palms face up. Breathe into your lower back here. Soften through your shoulders. Taking 3 releasing breaths here. And then when you're ready, we're going to move into Swan, sleeping swan pose, or pigeon as it's known, Kapotasana. So we have variations. Let's try going to the sleeping swan variation and then I'll give you an alternative. So we want to bring our right knee forward first. So let's come onto all fours. Draw the right knee in towards the right hand. And then reach back long with your left foot, left leg. And then sit onto your right hip for a moment, the right sit bone, and adjust that right foot to the angle that feels comfortable for you before you roll back onto the front of your left leg. If there's a big gap between your right sit bone and the earth, this is where you can place a cushion. So just turn around so you can see me a little bit better. So there's a big gap here between your sit bone and the earth. You can pad that with a cushion or 2 cushions, however many you need. Lengthen first, and then we're going to come into sleeping swan. So you can come into sleeping swan by resting your arms on a bolster. Or you can extend your arms along the earth and rest your eyebrow center directly on the earth. So this can feel quite challenging. If this is something that feels painful, an alternative is to do the reclined version. And if you wish to move into that version, coming onto your back and then crossing your right ankle onto your left leg and turning that right knee out. So this has the same impact, this figure of 4 has the same impact as sleeping swan. To add challenge to this variation, always place your left foot on a bolster or a low footstool, or even on the wall. So that left foot can be resting on the wall. So come into the variation that you choose. Closing your eyes here. "10,000 flowers in the spring, the moon in autumn, a cool breeze in summer, snow in winter." If the mind is not clouded by unnecessary things, this is the best season of life. Breathing into the hip here. So you can sense with where the extension is. Here we're directly working on the gallbladder. The gallbladder helps us to have vision of future, helps to clarify our vision. It offers us hope, flexibility. It is a generous, expansive, sense that is cultivated by the gallbladder, and the liver helps to cultivate the sense of leadership. So working with the time when you are stuck in your career, stuck in a relationship, this can help to bring clarity, to help us to decide on action. Thinking about how bamboo is strong and flexible, how it expands and pushes forward and grows and flourishes. Six more breaths in sleeping swan, or the figure of 4 variation. Inhaling to lift your gaze, walking your hands back towards your body, rising up with your crown. And taking that right leg long and perhaps extending it to help release it. And we're going to move into a twist here. So let's come onto our sit bones here. If you're on the earth, to rise up. Let's extend the left leg long and cross the right foot over the left leg. We're still working on this side here for the moment. You have the option of bringing the left here towards the right hip. So your left leg will be extended or folded in towards you, lengthen through your crown. Reaching up. As you exhale, let's turn to the right. This left hand can come to the outside of the right knee, or you can hug that right knee in. Yogi's choice. Gazing over towards the right. So here, as you sit in this twist, think about how to release any accumulated tensions that gather and accumulate in the liver. Releasing anger, frustration, impatience, giving expression to them. It is often when we suppress or repress these negative emotions, or fear of causing offense or hurt, that we turn this energy inward. It stagnates and causes us harm. Being able to assertively express your emotions gives you the freedom to release them. Three more breaths here in this seated twist. And let's turn our head back to center, followed by a heart counter twist over to the left. From here, we're going to move into Schulich pose, Gomakasa. So if your left heel is near your right hip, simply draw your right foot across so that the right knee comes closer to the left knee and so that your feet are further away, pointing out to the sides. If you have half twists with the left leg extended, then again bring that right knee closer to the left knee so that it's stacking above or as close to the left knee as possible. So you'll be in half shoelace variation. You'll be in this double footer variation where both feet are up close to your hips. And here, wherever you are, take hold of your thumb or your big toe that's closest to you and give it a little massage, pressing firmly there for about 30 seconds. We are going to fold forward here. So if you do have a pillow or a bolster here, then it's a good idea to rest your eyebrow center on your bolster or pillow. Your hands can rest on the earth. Or you can rest your eyebrow center on your hands that are on top of your knees. If your leg is extended, you can fold forward. Again, you can have the bolster or pillow next to your extended leg. Or if you wish, you can place along your knee to lift the knee higher in that way so that you can visualize that your crown, your eyebrow center, is closer to the knee. You're resting on your pillow or your bolster. So again, your options to explore. The gallbladder starts at the corner of the eye. There's a branch of the liver underneath the eyes. This is where your sight helps to clarify, helps to give vision. And soften here in your shoelace pose. With each out breath, softening. We'll be here for another 30 seconds. Giving your body time to prepare for movement, for change, for adjustment. And then when you're ready, inhaling to lift your gaze, remove your bolster or pillows or cushions. And then let's release both legs long, maybe bending into the knees and windshield wiping them from left to right, or extending them and windshield wiping your feet from left to right. Because you might be feeling some energy in your hips, in your knees. So let's release, extending that. Now we're going to move back into Swan, sleeping Swan pose on the left side. The left side. So if you did the reclined variation earlier, you can come into the reclined variation. So the figure of 4 by coming onto your back and cross the left ankle on the right ankle. And that right foot can be on a bolster, or you can have that right foot against a wall. So this is the most accessible form of sleeping swan or pigeon. If you're coming into the classical version of it, coming onto your knees, and then bring that left knee towards your left hand and slide the right knee away, extending that right leg long behind you. Roll onto your left hip and adjust your left foot to where you would like it. And then roll back onto the front of your right leg. If you want to place a cushion or a pillow underneath your left sit bone, you're invited to do that to give you a little bit more support. Lengthen, and then as you exhale, fold down towards the earth. Again, you can rest on a bolster, or come directly to the earth, yogi's choice. Tap into this energy of spring, the creativity, the awakening of your creative, imaginative qualities. Perhaps daydreaming. Giving expression to your creative self. allowing new ideas to bud and spring forth. The element of wood is an ideal practice for a new moon. With each out breath, soften and surrender, becoming flexible, adapting to change. Breathing into the areas of your body that feel tight, tense, rigid. Guiding the breath into those areas. Allowing the breath to soften that part of your body. We'll be here for another minute in Sleeping Swan. Allow the breath to nourish your body. To shift the energy, to spring clean your physical self, your emotional self. Six more breaths here. And then inhale to rise with supporting hands. And if you're reclined on your back, releasing your feet. And then let's come onto our sit bones. We're going to come into our twist here. So let's extend the right leg long. Cross the left foot over the right leg. And again, that right leg can be extended, or you can bend into that foot and bring that right heel to your left hip. Lengthen here. Again, you have the option of hugging this right knee in and reaching behind with the left hand, or taking the elbow to the outside of that right knee. Coming into the twist to the left. Rooting into the earth through your sit bones. Lengthening through your crown. Perhaps in your mind's eye, visualizing a tree. A plant. Something that is rooted in the earth and rising up towards the sky. Three more breaths here. As you inhale, turn your gaze back to center, followed by your heart space as counter twist over to the right moment. And then back to center. We're going to move directly into shoelace on this side. So if your left heel is near your right heel is near your hip, let's bring that right foot. So lower the knee over the left knee, and hugging that left foot in towards you, the right foot in towards you. If your left leg is extended, then bring that left knee over the right knee or thereabouts. Whichever variation you are, take hold of your big toe and press on it for about 30 seconds or massage it. And then when you're ready, we're going to fold forward, our hands on the earth. And again, your folding forward can be unsupported by a block or by a bolster or cushion, or you may choose to grab a cushion or two. And then rest your eyebrow center on the cushion. So these poses can feel quite intense. We find our edge and we sit with that edge, and as we sit with that edge, it gradually softens. We drop down into the deeper tissues. We're working on the issues in our tissues. We want to create this sense of flexibility to counteract the rigidity so that we bend rather than break. We'll be here for another 30 seconds. And then when you're ready, inhaling to lift your gaze. Remove your cushions, bolsters, pillows that you've been using to rest your eyebrow center on. And then let's release our legs, bending into our knees, windshield wiping them one way, then the other, or extending our legs and windshielding them one way, then the other. And now we're going to come down to the earth. We're going to move into half moon crescent pose or banana. Let's lift our, walk our feet to the bottom right hand corner of the mat. And we can reach overhead with our arms. We either take hold of our wrists or lower arms, or we extend our arms to the top right hand corner of the mat. Take hold of your left wrist with your right hand. You also have the option of crossing your left leg over your right leg. This will intensify the stretch. This is a deep activation of the gallbladder meridian in particular. The element of wood, the season of spring, that it connects to the energy of the season of spring. This is a time of rebirth, new beginnings, of reaching outward, of developing deeper roots and remaining flexible in times of change, remaining flexible with the wind, allowing yourself to yield to the winds of life, maintaining this upward, forward-looking gaze, staying focused on your life's purpose, your dharma. One more breath here in half moon. Uncross your left leg, release your arms, and then let's bring everything back to center for a moment. And then lift your hips and pelvis over to the right side of your mat. Reach your legs to the bottom left-hand corner of your mat. And your hands and arms to the top left-hand corner of your mat. Take hold of your right wrist with your left hand. You have the option of crossing your right ankle on your left leg. Wind stirs the bamboo, but once the wind passes, the bamboo is silent. Geese land in the chill pond, but once the geese fly away, there are no reflections in the same way. Once the red dust passes, the mind is still. Releasing the half moon pose here by uncrossing your leg, releasing your wrists, moving everything to center of the mat. Resting here in Shavasana for as long as you wish. Or rising if you choose to close your practice. Wind stirs the bamboo, but once the wind passes, the bamboo is silent. Geese land in the chill pond, but once the geese fly away, there are no reflections. In the same way, once the red dust passes, the mind is still. If you're closing your practice now with me, bringing your hands to your heart center, silently and softly chanting Om Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Dhanyavad. If you're in Shavasana, taking your time and then closing your practice when you're ready. Thank you.